thank you again for welcoming here this morning. Again, my name is Ryan Catalani. I serve as the Executive Director of Family Promise of Hawaii. Beautiful lei. I didn't plan this to match my shirt, but here it does. Family Promise, for those who don't know, we're a nonprofit, and we mobilize the community and provide critical housing resources to help end homelessness for families with children, helping them move from crisis to stability. Just last year, we served nearly 2,000 children, parents, and family members on both Oahu and Maui, thanks to our network of supporters and volunteers, many of whom come from congregations like yours to put their faith into action. I've worked at the organization for 3 years now, although I've been connected with this work for a bit more time than that. Before taking this job, I actually served on the board of directors of Family Promise as a volunteer. And I originally found out about Family Promise when I was living on the continent. There are over 200 Family Promise affiliates in 43 states, actually, so we're part of a national network. And each one is its own separate organization, but we all focus on the mission of addressing family homelessness. After graduating from Punahou, I went to college in Boston, then moved to Delaware, and started working at the Family Promise affiliate there. I was originally drawn to Family Promise because I grew up in Hawaii at a time when we had the highest per capita rate of homelessness in the country. And we still have the highest rate today, actually. But what has kept me to the organization in different roles over the years is the special way we do things, focusing on children and families. This work really took on a new lens for me about 14 months ago, when my wife and I had our first baby. Raising a newborn is challenging enough for anyone, and yet research shows that the age at which someone is most likely to become homeless is under age 1, followed by ages 1 through 5. It's a sobering and honestly shocking statistic because infants and toddlers are not usually who we think of when we think about homelessness. So much of our attention in the media, in public policy, in the popular imagination, centers around those who we can easily see on the street or under the freeway overpass, usually a single unsheltered adult. And yet young children and their families make up an often invisible but significant proportion of our homelessness challenge. An estimated 1 in 30 young children experience homelessness annually, meaning more likely than not, you have already encountered a child or a parent experiencing homelessness, possibly without even realizing. If you have children, there may be a student in their class who doesn't know where they're going to sleep tonight. And most of the parents that we serve are employed, meaning that you might be interacting with someone experiencing homelessness at the restaurant you're at, or the grocery store checkout line, or waiting in line with you at the DMV. I think about all the early experiences I've had with my son over the past year, and how much harder it would have been without a safe and stable place to call home. Changing diapers, refrigerating his milk, playing with him, keeping his rotation of clothes clean, 2 clothes per day at least, refrigerating his milk, playing with him, finding a safe place for him to sleep overnight. All of these things would be infinitely more challenging if we were sleeping on the beach, in our car, or bouncing from place to place every night. That's why at Family Promise, our programs and services are tailored to the unique needs of children and families, giving them hope and walking alongside them on their journey back to stability. We provide emergency shelter, or what we call interim housing, to families with children experiencing homelessness. And unlike traditional shelters, our program provides each family with their own room, giving them more privacy, dignity, and security. They also have access to all their basic needs, including food pantries, toiletries, cleaning supplies, laundry machines, bus passes, and more, most of which are provided by our volunteers and donors. Now, this is a free but temporary program. Our case managers work individually with families on a weekly or even daily basis to identify their unique challenges and help the family navigate resources so they can quickly move back to stable housing. Our number one goal is to help the family get into housing that they can afford and maintain long-term. So we work holistically, making sure the family has enough income or helping them increase their income, and providing workshops on personal finance and workforce development. We also connect the family with healthcare resources and make sure that children are enrolled in school. We believe in keeping families together, so we accept families of any size and composition, including single moms, single dads, two-parent households, and even multi-generational families. It's not uncommon for us to have a family of 6 to 8 people, staying together in our shelter program. And now we currently have space for nearly 30 families, or about 100 individual children, parents, and family members from multiple facilities from town to central Oahu. Outside of our interim housing program, we also provide emergency rental assistance to prevent families from being evicted and becoming homeless. We also provide rental assistance to help families quickly transition to and sustain permanent housing. Each of those families also receives the same individualized and holistic case management. And we now have a case management team on Maui, currently focused on the families who were displaced by the 2023 wildfires and are still working to find housing and rebuild their lives. Now we're even beginning to offer long-term and truly affordable housing, providing permanent housing to help families exit homelessness and to help low-income families avoid falling into homelessness in the first place. So this is just a quick look of where we're operating across the island now. So we offer a variety of services to families in need, but what we're ultimately providing are 3 things that families need to succeed. The hope to go on when times are tough, when families are struggling in their darkest hour. Hospitality that nurtures and empowers children and families, affording them dignity and humanity. And a pathway to home so they can quickly and sustainably move back into their own permanent housing. Hope, hospitality, and home. These are the 3 key ingredients that make Family Promise successful. And through the partnership of congregations like yours, these ingredients come together in a recipe for truly life-changing moments. These are some photos from our Ohana Navigation Centers, so you can get a picture of what it's like for families in our programs. There's no one-size-fits-all when it comes to homelessness. Each family's circumstances can vary widely. That's why we take the time to get to know each family individually, so we can design customized plans to suit their needs. It's a quality over quantity approach that has proven effective. Last year, over 90% of the families we serve transitioned directly from our programs to stable housing. Most of all, this individualized approach provides hope. It shows families that we care about them as people, that we believe in them and support them on their journey. I'd like to read part of a letter that a family sent to us that really speaks to this theme of hope. Before we came into this program, we were struggling financially, couldn't catch up on rent, find jobs, and we were forced to vacate the place. I was filled with anger and at the same time crying my heart out. I can't imagine seeing my family living in a van. We found out about Family Promise. In my mind, I didn't know what the conditions would be. Well, we had no choice but to take it. It was either that or living in the van. So we entered the program, and it was surprising to me that this program had everything you needed. We didn't have to spend money. Everything was provided for us. It provided clothes, diapers for my 2 sons, shampoo, toothbrush, anything, you name it. They had a washer, dryer, and a kitchen for cooking. Like I said, everything was free. The people are so heartfelt and very helpful. Family Promise has helped my family a lot about learning about budgeting and finding housing. It also helped my partner find a job quickly too. Now that we had found a place, I feel relieved and ready to start a whole new life. It's always good to learn from your mistakes so that you won't repeat it again. Thank you, Family Promise, for giving us the opportunity to feel that there is still hope in this life. If you fall, just pick yourself up and restart again. There is hope in this life, and that hope for a better future, that's where every story at Family Promise begins. You can see why it's one of the themes that's essential to our work: hope, hospitality, and home. And now about hospitality. It's one of our organization's core values, and for those of you who have been with Family Promise in the past, you know about hospitality at Family Promise. We welcome families of all kinds with empathy and respect. Running through our organization is a commitment to keeping families together, because we believe families shouldn't be separated during the most difficult times in their lives. We've been committed to this value of hospitality since the very beginning. Family Promise of Hawaii was founded in 2005, 20 years ago this year, And most of our most foundational partners have always been an interfaith network of congregations and volunteers who provide hospitality to families during their darkest hour. The next slide, we have some photos of volunteers who have put their faith into action through our weekly Ohana Nights. For us, the volunteer qualifications couldn't be simpler. Can you cook? Can you eat? Can you play with kids? That's really what we're doing together. If you can do one of those three things, you can volunteer with us. Extra credit for 2 or more. Volunteers bring meals for families in our programs, then serve the meals in a family-style dinner, sitting down together with the families and getting to know their neighbors a little bit better. After dinner, volunteers, sometimes the same one, sometimes a different group, organize activities with the kids and the parents. Sometimes it's activities for the whole family, like celebrating birthdays or holidays, or creative ideas like art workshops or ukulele lessons. And sometimes we organize kids' activities while offering workshops to help parents gain employment and financial skills. These weekly Ohana Nights take place at our 2 Ohana Navigation Centers, one in town and one in Wahiawa. These centers combine our interim housing, case management, and other wraparound services under one roof. In Wahiawa, we can serve up to 12 families at a time, or about 48 individuals. And we just opened this Wahiawa Center in December. A couple of your congregation members have gotten a sneak peek, but you're welcome to come by another time if you'd like to take a tour. During the day, this is where families will meet with case managers to address their challenges in that holistic way. And the Ohana Navigation Center has a dining room, washing machines, and computers that families can use. The volunteer nights, though, the Ohana Nights, these create that element of hospitality that has been so memorable for families and for volunteers since the beginning of Family Promise. I've heard from a lot of volunteers over the years that these nights together have really changed the way they think about homelessness, that they've seen someone in their very own community at their kid's school or someone they recognize who they would have had no idea were going through something like this. Through these family-style dinners, you'll be able to eat together with the families we're serving and really get to know them on a human level. All you have to do is bring a meal. Again, if you can eat, if you can cook, if you can play with kids, that's all we're doing together. But it really changes the course of the trajectory of these programs. And if you're interested, you can actually just sign up online. You can sign up for a single night or on a recurring schedule. So hope is where our story starts, and hospitality is one of those things that really sets us apart. But we also have to keep in mind that last theme, which is home. Home is the ultimate goal. It's where all of this effort is headed. When I think of home, I think of a family we recently served. It was a family of 6, a mom, a dad, and 4 kids. The father was working at a grocery store, and they had a stable place to live. But unfortunately, the lease expired, and they found themselves with nowhere to go. They spent a night sleeping in their van in a parking lot before connecting with us and entering our emergency shelter program. It was hard for the kids at first. They didn't understand what was going on. They would ask their parents, "When are we going home?" Fortunately, a new home was right around the corner thanks to compassionate volunteers and supporters like yourselves, along with our dedicated staff. Working together as a community, we provided that safe place to stay while the family got back on their feet. We also helped with the basic needs like food and supplies and diapers for the 2 babies. The mom was able to find a job, and now with 2 incomes, they moved back into an apartment just 3 months after they first came to Family Promise. The need, unfortunately, is greater than ever. The most recent data shows that children and families in Hawaii are becoming homeless at a faster rate than other groups. Recently released data shows that homelessness among Hawaii public school students increased by a shocking 66% between the 2022 to 23 and 23 to 24 school years. Much of this increase happened on Maui because of the wildfires, but there was nearly every area across the state that had an increase too. Since last year, Family Promise alone has received a 44% increase in calls seeking assistance. And just last month, our organization alone has received over 340 calls from families seeking assistance for the first time. Some have just received an eviction notice and are desperately looking for help before their family experiences homelessness. Some have already lost their housing and are now looking for a roof over their heads. Your support and your continued partnership will allow us to prevent and end homelessness for many more families in their time of need. It's largely an economic crisis driven by families who are struggling to make ends meet, as we all know with the high cost of living here. For every 100 low-income households, there are only 40 housing units that are available and affordable to them. And homelessness can have long-term impacts for young children. The first few years of brain development are so crucial for children, and research has linked housing instability in early childhood with lifelong health and education and economic repercussions if it's not addressed quickly. In fact, one of the risk factors for becoming homeless as an adult is having experienced homelessness as a child. So when I think about what we're doing at Family Promise, I can see that we're not just providing housing for a family today. We're potentially changing the trajectory of their children's lives for the next generation. If we as a community want to truly end homelessness, we have to begin with the children and prevent continued cycles of trauma and instability. That's why it's so important for us to keep the end goal in mind, which is home. Stable housing is that foundation for a child's success in life, and it's a model that has made a real impact for families, thousands of families, over the past 20 years. So far this year, in fact, we're on pace to serve another record number of families. We've served nearly 2,000 individual children, parents, and family members so far this year. Homelessness may seem like an intractable problem, but as we've seen at Family Promise, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I believe we as a community actually have everything we need to solve this. It's just a matter of perspective and priorities. And it takes those three ingredients coming together. The hope to go on when times are tough, empowering families when they're in their darkest hour, hospitality that nurtures and empowers children and families, affording them dignity and humanity, and a pathway to home so they can quickly and sustainably move back to their own permanent housing. Hope, hospitality, and home. And there's actually one more important ingredient in this recipe for success, which is you. Without the community support, none of our work would be possible. Support from congregations like yours truly does change lives. By putting your faith into action, you will create a brighter future for so many children and families. I can't tell you how many families have said that the hospitality they received, particularly those meals and activities with volunteers, was their most memorable time of in the program at Family Promise. Here's what one mom said about her time with us. I really appreciate you all accepting us into your families without asking any questions. You were encouraging, hopeful, and always giving of your time. Each of you, speaking to the volunteers here, each of you showed me so much love, and I can't thank you enough. I will never forget how much you people care about us. You guys take time away from your lives and family to help people like us. I am truly thankful for all the work put into making our stay a success. I came here scared, ashamed, tired, and hopeless, but now I'm leaving confident, grateful, humbled, excited, and hopeful. Thank you for helping me get back into a home where I can be safe and together with my children. At Family Promise, we have so many ways to get involved. Remember, cooking, eating, playing with kids. You can share a meal with our family. You can donate household supplies, such as the Welcome Home kits that we give families when they move into housing. You can find out about volunteering and donating on our website, familypromisehawaii.org, or come and find me afterward. I'll share my card with you. I'm also happy to answer any questions, and I would love to hear your ideas and suggestions. In times like these that feel so tumultuous and uncertain, what I love about Family Promise is the certainty of knowing that we are transforming lives, one family at a time, and creating brighter futures for our entire community. Supporters like you make that difference for these families. It's the difference between the stress and uncertainty of not knowing where your kids will sleep tonight and the hope for stable housing and that brighter future. Together, we can make a real difference for children and families who are going through the most challenging times of their lives. We can provide those three key ingredients, hope, hospitality, and home, and transform the lives of families and children. Thank you again for inviting me here this morning.